Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Ted, hanging out with some of the colleagues here.
Dave.
Right.
And today we're going to do a character build on the Swashbuckler. So typically when we do these videos, we try to say, what makes this character build fit best in a single class, just because I know there's all kinds of ways to say, oh, well, if you take a piece from here and a piece from there. So
we get a lot of those suggestions.
Right.
A lot.
So I see as a couple things that that totally fill the top rungs in my book. Fighter, rogue, and bard. What do you guys think?
I think that's about right.
Yeah, that is about right. Yeah, we'll call this a day. Yeah.
All right. Next time.
So now, more specifically though, like fighter is definitely the battle master.
Absolutely,
yeah, for sure.
Because he can do all the cool stuff,
cool maneuvers. Yeah.
With the bard, probably College of Valor.
College of Valor. You've got some cool skills and stuff that you can do because you're a bard. You get access to some spells, and you're really not suffering much in the way of attacks. It's just a one level difference between fighter and College of Valor bard.
So with that, then we have FTW, the rogue.
Yeah.
And it's like, which flavor of swashbuckler do you want?
I was struggling. I was like, do you go arcane trickster and like do some funky stuff with your your ranged mage hand, because you could like pants somebody or something ridiculous.
Yeah,
like that.
I think all three of them actually work.
Make their own distinct.
Like assassin, I think you would reflavor it.
They're the swordsman type of.
Yeah, and you would reflavor it to not be so, I don't know, I'll murder you.
Yeah, right. It's not about, oh well, I'm going for the kill. It's the I'm just that good.
Yeah,
as long as you don't see me coming.
Right. Well, you are doing the whole who strikes first strikes last sort of.
Yeah, and it's the assassinate doesn't say they can't see you. It's just you went first.
Yeah.
So
you got to be like Han Solo and shoot first.
Oh, well, obviously.
Yeah. Well, with that swashbuckler, you like banter over top of their bodies. After combat's already going on, or you're far less impressive.
Dude, you realize you're getting blood all over my shoes. Stop it.
Yeah, stop it. So now again, so races. All right. So we know we can go. We know we can go bard. We know we can go fighter. We know we can go rogue. But who should go those and be a swashbuckler?
Okay, well, when I think swashbuckler, I'm thinking dexterous. So I'm thinking you're going to be fighting with finesse weapons. You don't have that burly half orc or the strong dragonborn. When you think swashbuckler, you're thinking of nimble, you're thinking of quick. So you're out there with your rapier or your long sword. Trying to move in deftly. I know longsword's not a finesse weapon, but whatever.
Scimitar.
Scimitar.
So who gets dex as their advantage? You're definitely seeing elves.
Halflings.
Definitely seeing halflings.
And the funny thing with the halfling is, like, first of all, no matter which way you go, whether you go stout or lightfoot, I mean, you're talking about con as your secondary or charisma, which I mean both would be fine for this type of character. And
we all know of Oliver D. Burrows.
Yes,
that's
why I smirked, because that's what I instantly began thinking of when we're talking about races. And then
elves aren't going to be anything to shy away from as well. Elves are great.
Humans always.
You can always do humans
and half elves.
You can say absolutely half elves, because you've got to be charismatic to be a swashbuckler.
Now, if you're willing to step away from the idea that your swashbuckler has to be super nimble, like if you don't put that as his paragon ability, the dragonborn actually makes a reasonably and very off color choice for this. Like the big hatted plumed. Swashbuckling dragonborn.
That being said, here's a thought that kind of occurred to me when we went through stuff. Well, what about a barbarian as a swashbuckler? One of the things that makes a barbarian awesome as a swashbuckler, and the same thing with the monk, is they don't need to wear armor.
Yeah,
that's true.
And I kind of feel like wearing a lot of armor detracts from your.
I hate the idea. I hate the idea of somebody wearing full plate just because they can, rather than it fitting the image of what they're doing.
And let's remember, just because you're raging, it doesn't mean that you can't use your strength for damage. So you could totally use, and you could still use a finesse weapon. and it would just be based on strength, because if you wanted to, maintain that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Although, I don't know about witty banter, but as far as when your rage happens, maybe you do that up until the point where you rage and you kind of lose it.
Yeah. Right.
So, but that might make for a more interesting swashbuckler.
I just imagine him just like backhanding people left and right.
I'd have to say it, but I'm not feeling the barbarian swashbuckler.
You're not feeling it?
No. I can see monk, because you're not having to wear the armor, and you could be using a short sword that you're tangling with. But I mean,
not my dragonborn with a barbarian with a rapier.
I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
What if you were raised in civilization, or you're born a barbarian but raised you later at an early age, age you came to civilized lands.
Let's reskin barbarian and say that you're actually some sort of specialized warrior that goes a dervish that goes into like a trance or whatever, that like it's just like it's like a meditative state almost, as opposed to a blind rage,
like a water dancer.
Like yeah. I mean, like you're not super. I mean, you still do get strong, and like you are trained to like ignore things.
Well, I mean, but there's nothing that says you actually get stronger, because their rage doesn't give them strength anymore.
It
just gives them plus the damage.
And resistance to damage doesn't necessarily have to be in the sense that you're getting hit and shrugging
it
off.
Your idea of water dancer, totally fits. From Game of Thrones, it's like, all right, you go into this,
you're able to deflect every time you just hit you.
You're moving so quickly that you're taking a little bit off of every single
totally
attack.
Told you barbarian works.
There we go.
Well, there's times
we've justified it.
Yeah, and that's absolutely what it is. If you can make it make sense, yeah.
And then like you have several backgrounds that fall right into your swashbuckler. Obviously, come on, sailor.
Yeah.
You got sailor or the variant pirate. I would say noble.
Yeah, for sure.
The variant knight isn't really going to work.
But criminal, you could do absolute criminal.
Yeah, criminal, urchin. Yeah, a lot of them really do. And with a little justification, you can go guild artist, and you can go charlatan. Well, charlatan absolutely works.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's funny because it is one of those builds where you can use so many of the different backgrounds and make them work,
and all of it kind of coalesces into a different swashbuckler, and it makes sense.
Can you think of a background that doesn't work?
Well,
maybe a hermit.
The hermit is less.
Sage, acolyte.
I honestly feel like a sage or an acolyte could work, because you could leave that life behind.
Well, but
for a life of adventure on the high seas.
Actually, too, like out of the three musketeers, I believe one of them was religious.
One of them was a priest, yeah.
And they pulled him out of the priesthood, so he was an acolyte, but he was still religious.
Yeah.
Like actually, those books are great. Like Alexander Dumas. Like, but what?
Oh,
you said Dumas.
Every time I hear that,
you're a dumbass.
Every time I hear that, I think of the scene from Shawshank where it's like Alexander. Dumbass.
Yeah.
So really, I feel like almost all of them but Hermit might work. I was just thinking when you guys were talking, I was just thinking about another one that would be really good.
Entertainer.
That was the one. Yeah, entertainer, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, come on, breathe on fire while you're fighting and juggling in your offhand.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So there's different reasons to be different classes with your swashbuckling. I mean, we went with barbarian because hey, how cool is it to not really wear armor, and because that's the problem. Like, you lose the immersion once you put that swashbuckler in full plate.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah. So I'm the guy that wants to put the archer in full plate. And I'm like, nah, with the swashbuckler, it totally ruins it.
But so let's talk like weapon choices to make it an effective character build too. I think, is that where you're going, or are you going somewhere else now?
No, well, an effective swashbuckler, but no, I mean, there's different reason to choose different classes, and like I was just going to run down those real quick. Like the barbarian is, obviously rage is good, and unarmored defense is really great, and so
that little bump to damage, not bad too.
Yeah, so you could make you could reskin that and make something really cool and thematic. Fighter, obviously, I'm thinking battle master.
I'm duelist.
And you take duelist.
Yeah.
For the to basically, well, that's what you do. You duel.
Yeah. Or 2-weapon fighting.
Yeah, that works too.
2-weapon
So
fighting.
you could do 2-weapon fighting. I definitely see
Either one.
I see the more of the duelist to get your essentially your rage damage you're always getting with the one weapon. But two
Did you say rage damage with your one weapon?
because it gives you +2 to damage. So that's what you get as a barbarian at first
Yeah,
level.
but they don't get a fighting style.
No, that's what I'm saying. They're
It's
equivalent.
equivocal.
Oh, they're equivalent. Gotcha. Now it's sinking through.
Well, I mean, like to be the more traditional sort of fighting styles, it would be like rapier and dagger. Like aside from the person,
Right. Or you got to just fight with one hand in the air.
Yeah, you either fight with the one hand in the air, or you throw a dagger or a short sword, mangochi.
You could totally do a buckler, and because in this edition you don't really differentiate between shields, you just call it a buckler.
Right.
That kind of works as well.
That still gives you the +2 that you see. Why not?
Yeah. So again, battle master is cool because you get to do all the cool stuff and look cool.
Disarms,
doing
the
it,
pushes, the
lunges.
Yeah. Jumping jacks.
Bards is a completely different kind of swashbuckler, though.
Right.
Because you're casting spells, you're entertaining, you're giving inspiration. Yeah. I don't think you're as much as the duelist, although you can be much better with the College of Valor.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I guess it runs into a little bit of problem of the armor. Like, how much armor can I put on my swashbuckler and have him still feel like a swashbuckler?
Up to light or a breastplate?
I think light armor, makes him a swashbuckler. If you're like my bard in your game, he's swashbuckler-esque, but he's walking around in half plate. That doesn't look like a swashbuckler.
No.
So it's like that really defies all of that. So I see.
I think a breastplate could still be.
You'd
still be in the realm of
you're getting close.
Yeah, because you're not encumbering your legs, your arms are free. You're just protecting your torso.
So maybe the breastplate might work, and then obviously the rogue. Like, there's so many different ways you can go with the rogue on this. All the archetypes just work. Like, any one of those can be not so much reskinned, but any one of those
finessed a little bit.
Yeah, it can make an awesome swashbuckler character.
So.
But there was one we didn't mention that could probably work as well. I mean, the ranger. You're already in light armor,
right?
You already
can do the 2 weapons.
You can do the 2 weapons or the duelist, I believe.
Yeah.
So they're already fighting that way. I guess their spells are going to add to their combat abilities, but the ranger spells are very unspell-like, just like the paladin spells are in this edition. They're
actually a paladin swashbuckler isn't a bad option either. You got the charisma, and you're going to want strength. All right, I mean, so okay, no, you could do the finesse. You could still do the finesse paladin, but you could also, if you go that alternative build of I want to be a strong.
Yeah, but even their fighting styles are kind of you're fighting with a great sword, because they the ones that get the fighting styles, they always get 4, and I think they're protective, defensive, protection.
So they have the one where they can.
Or great.
They can, the 2-weapon fighting. They could do the 2-weapon fighting, or they could take the one where they kind of defend their allies. Yeah.
Yeah, the protection one.
Right.
So, but then again, it's it always feels like the paladin is slathering on the armor, no matter what variation
he wants
you're using.
to, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's with the paladin. You see that as the shining knight. You want to see them in full plate. You want to see them,
Hey, you remember that book series?
Yeah, from Mel Adam
with
from the sea.
Yeah, the guy
Threat from the sea.
The guy fought scimitar and gaff hook, which was a sailor thing or whatever.
Yeah,
and he was totally a paladin.
Well, yeah, because he kind of trained the other guy to be a paladin.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he was a lightly armored, sea paladin. It's not going to be an optimal. The fighter through the paladin, anybody that can wear full heavy armor that isn't optimized. So
yeah, they start losing it.
Yeah. So I mean, that's part of the.
So I wonder how you a monk totally works mechanically.
Yeah.
But how do you make him make him feel like a swashbuckler,
entertainer background?
Yeah, but he's still a monk. You still have the martial arts and monks always feel like they should come from an order or a monastery or something. I mean, they don't have to.
Maybe he left. He took his teachings.
He's a drunken monk.
And the
Actually, that would work pretty
He's the
good.
drunken
The
monk.
drunken monk. I like that one.
Yeah. So
The drunk.
The drunk. Yeah. And
I mean, because like past editions had like the drunken master, like
Right.
So.
And you can kind of model any of the monk traditions into the swashbuckler character.
That's true.
I mean, I personally just like the open hand one, and you'll be able to do more cool stuff, and you could describe it in different ways.
Yeah.
Like tripping and pushing.
Yeah, you could do either a drunken fighting style, or you could do something maybe modeled after like monkey. Yeah, like the monkey fighting style, because that's like very acrobatic. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you could, but they can still use weapons too. So it's not like you're totally. I mean, you can do short swords or something. And again, like Ted's brought up time and time again, there is no historical equivalent for a short sword. Yeah. It really is just a long bladed dagger.
Yeah.
Or a shorter sword or a bigger dagger. There's no.
Well, in the same way that we reskin barbarian, you could say that it's another swordsman technique.
Yeah, I mean that works as well.
Yeah, like it's just like a very distinct sort of like training that you've underwent to be able to do like a stunning attack.
You've incorporated a different style into your training, and similar to like a water dancer, you were sent off to a school to learn how to fight this way, and
actually the way the shadow totally works for like a shadow dancer type character.
Yeah,
I mean that's a little bit darker for a swashbuckler, but I still think it's feasible.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, great feats, like obviously the 2-weapon fighting feat to get that bumped AC, and you could use, like bigger weapons, that aren't necessarily light. Because I like that it sets you up to either, you can either fight, rapier and crossbow, hand crossbow, as I've seen not one but 3 characters use in one of your games, which that all felt super swashbuckler.
Yeah, the crossbow expert.
Yeah. So the crossbow expert, while fighting with a rapier or multiple crossbows, like even is kind of swashbucklery, but you're the I don't go and sword fight, folks. Swashbuckler.
you're like on guard.
Yeah.
It's a dirty fighter.
I definitely see that as a dirty fighter. If
it's the Indiana Jones, like the guy swinging the sword and you just shoot.
If you don't have a sword in your hand, you're not a swashbuckler. That's in my head.
Well, that's why I have to go on guard and then shoot them.
Yeah. Or you have a
sword in your hand.
You have a dagger mounted to your
crossbow.
So there's a blade. There's literally a blade.
Yeah. It's a bayonet for a crossbow.
Dirty fighter and swashbuckler, not the same thing.
So I think if we're mentioning feats, we'd be remiss if we didn't actually mention the Duelist feat.
What's the Duelist feat?
It's the one that lets you use your reaction to add your proficiency bonus to your armor class.
Nice, yeah. Oh, that's a badass feat. I don't even think I've even seen that one.
It is there. It is absolutely there.
That is fantastic.
So there's that, and then what else is there? The
mobility one.
The mobility one is actually a really good one because it lets you weave in and out of combat.
And if you're going to go, fighting with 2 weapons, you need a dual wielder.
Yeah, that's what Ryan had said.
Yeah. And actually, a thing that I like too is either rapier and whip, short sword and whip. Just because you can do, especially with that battle master, you have so many options open to you.
Yeah.
Because you have that 10 foot of reach. Okay, you could fight rapier or scimitar with your other hand, but say things are further away, you can chuck a dagger or a hand axe or whatever while you're still using this other weapon at reach too. So like, especially with the battle master, you have like infinite possibilities for what you could possibly do.
Yeah. I think alertness deserves an honorable mention.
Alert, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, alert. For that type of character as well.
Isn't that the one that gives you the bump to initiative?
Yeah, that's why. That's the main thing.
Well, especially for that rogue that's going to want to go first and give extra damage, the SS, and
yeah, it's nothing like being able to get an auto crit because you went first.
It definitely adds to things a little bit, I would say.
Yeah.
So the cool thing though is from us talking about this is the fact that like there's a whole lot more possibilities for Swashbuckler than I initially thought.
Absolutely.
After we kind of like talk it out, you got a handful of races that it'll work with.
I could see a Kenku, like a weird swashbuckler there.
Oh, Blackbeak.
Yeah, Blackbeak, the pirate that Mike Gould, I believe, brought up. Blackbeak.
I think it was Mike Gould.
Yeah. And like, so like one of the, since they have the voice mimicry, like most of his mimicry are like taunts. that he's heard
Yeah, definitely.
in different other voices and stuff. I
And
was
now,
also-
and now that you did put the Kenku up on nerdarchy.com,
Yeah,
you can have the stats to use them,
there you go.
indeed.
and they're dex based as well.
Oh, they are.
Are they Dex and Intel? Is that
Dex.
Yeah,
Intel,
dex
yeah.
intel.
yeah? Which is good. Swashbucklers being bright is
So-
not bad either.
So, what do you guys think? What do you think makes the best swashbuckler? Put it in the comments below. Let us know whether you agree with us, disagree with
Duel
us.
it out. Yeah.
While you're doing that, feel free to click like, share, even subscribe.
And check us out on nerdarchy.com.
Or over on the Facebook group.
So until next time, stay
Stay
nerdy.
nerdy.